growing up, I really wasn't that good in sports. I was just coordinated enough that maybe I wouldn't get picked last on my junior high uh, teams during physical education. I loved golf. Basketball, I was horrible. And baseball, I never really played. I remember one time I was catching flies for my brother, and I caught one. My little mitt was so small that it missed the mitt and it smacked me right in the mouth. I can still feel how numb my mouth felt after that baseball hit me in the face. But when it comes to baseball, probably the closest that I ever got to being a Major League Baseball player is I had a good friend who played for the Seattle Mariners. And when we lived in Seattle, we became really close, and we played a lot of golf together, and we'd go to sporting events together, and we got to go to a lot of games. I learned about baseball at that time. And one time his friend, who was a Hall of Famer, asked him if he could take his car, his Porsche, into the shop for him. He wasn't able to do it. And so he asked my friend, and my friend said, I can't do it, but I have somebody who can. And he was thinking of me. And his buddy said, well, can he be trusted? Now, mind you, this was a bright red $100,000 Porsche. And my friend told him something that I'll never forget. He said, I would trust Ron with my own children. Well, that was quite the vote of confidence, and needless to say, I didn't sleep much that night, as I knew it was parked in my driveway. I wasn't able to put it in our garage because of all the bikes and everything that were in there. And I remember just thinking, oh my word, what happens if somebody breaks into his car? Well, nothing happened, and the next morning I got up and I started driving to the service center to have the the Porsche worked on. Now, I'm not like this huge car guy. I remember my first car was a 1957 Chevy, which I certainly wish I had today. But I got to tell you, when I got into that Porsche and I cranked it up, and I'm driving down the road in this bright red $100,000 car, I got some serious looks. And I admit, I kind of perked myself up a little and kind of looked out the window. I was feeling pretty proud. Now, again, this was probably, oh boy, I want to say 30 plus years ago. So 100,000 back then was probably, boy, I don't know how much that would be today. But as I think about the issue of trust, I think about a story that my dad told me that I'll never forget. My grandfather, his dad, was not a very kind man. In fact, he was rather mean. And I remember the few times that I saw him growing up, I was scared of him. And my dad told me the story one day that his dad placed him on a fence that was about 5 or 6 feet high. And he told him to jump. He said, jump, son, and I'll catch you. And my dad understandably was afraid. And he said, no, Dad. And he said, jump, I'll catch you. Trust me. I promise I'll catch you. You can trust me. Well, finally, my dad got the nerve to jump, and he jumped towards my grandfather's arms, and my grandfather stepped away. And as my dad was on the ground crying, probably looking up at his dad said, son, that'll teach you to never trust anybody, not even your own father. And I thought, how tragic, and what had my grandfather gone through that would cause him to do such a thing to his little boy? Trust. That is such an important quality to have in our characters. If we can't trust people, who can we trust? Solomon, the wisest man to have ever lived, writes this: trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. We can trust the Lord in all things. It is he and he alone that is fully and completely trustworthy. I love what David writes in one of his Psalms. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. The truth is, people are going to let us down, even close family members. But the Lord Jesus will never let us down. He alone is 100% trustworthy. We can always count on him. I want to give a shout out to Aaron Harmon, who was kind enough to let me come into their Porsche dealership and take some photos of the different cars. There was some spectacular cars there, and I know that when I'm in the market to go buy a Porsche, I'm going to go straight and see Aaron, although it's quite likely that that is not going to happen. But you can bet that if I ever have the opportunity to drive a Porsche into the shop again, I'm going to give Aaron a call. Thanks a lot, Aaron, and I hope the rest of you have a wonderful day.